Your blinds aren't blocking summer heat. They're trapping it inside the room with you, and the glass behind them ensures it never leaves. The fix is embarrassingly old. It's a fabric awning, about $40 a window, the same thing that shaded every American storefront and farmhouse for 100 years before we tore them all down. The Department of Energy says exterior shading like this blocks up to 77% of the solar heat coming through a west window. Your blinds fully closed on their best day manage about 45%, and on an average day far less. The difference isn't the fabric, it's which side of the glass it hangs on. That one decision explains why your living room turns into an oven every July afternoon, why your air conditioner runs flat out and loses anyway, and why a country that once knew the answer spent 70 years pretending it didn't. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact $40 fix, the one sizing rule that makes it work, and the strange geometry trick that lets it warm the same room in January. Start with what sunlight actually is, because the glass in your window is running a quiet scam on you, and it's been running it your whole life. Sunlight arrives as shortwave radiation, tight and fast waves, and to shortwave glass barely exists. The Department of Energy measured it. About 76% of the sunlight that strikes a standard double-pane window sails straight through and becomes heat inside your house. Now, follow one single sunbeam through your window. It crosses the glass, lands on your floor, your sofa, your closed blinds, and gets absorbed. The moment it's absorbed, it changes identity. Warm objects don't glow in shortwave. They radiate long-wave infrared, slow, fat waves of heat. And to long-wave, that same pane of glass is a brick wall. The light walked in through an open door, turned into heat, and found the door locked behind it. That's the villain of this whole story. Glass is a one-way valve for heat. Every greenhouse on the planet is built on that exact trick, and so accidentally is your living room. Now you can see why blinds lose. By the time sunlight touches a blind, it has already crossed the glass. It's already inside your thermal envelope. The dark slats absorb the beam and warm up like a skillet. Touch a metal mini-blind in full afternoon sun, and you'll pull your hand back. The hot slats heat the air column trapped against the window. That air rises, spills over the headrail, and rolls across your ceiling into the room. You didn't block the sun. You built a radiator, hung it in the window, and aimed it at your couch. The numbers behind this are honestly brutal. At the peak of a clear afternoon, the sun delivers around 1,000 liters of power to every square meter it hits head-on. A west-facing window, late in the day, catches that beam almost square. One ordinary 3 FT by 5 FT window adds up to a space heater's worth of heat bolted into your wall, switched on at the exact hour your house is already at its hottest. 2 west windows, 2 space heaters. Your air conditioner isn't weak. It's locked in a fistfight with the sun indoors, and you're paying the referee by the hour. Every degree of that fight shows up on a bill with your name on it. Time for a 10-second quiz before we go on. Where is most of that indoor heat actually coming from? A. Hot air leaking in around your doors. B. Your own blinds glowing in infrared. Or C. The light bulbs overhead. Hold that answer in your head. The answer is B. Your blinds. And the sticker on every new window quietly admits it. There's a number printed on that sticker called the solar heat gain coefficient, and it's just a fraction. Plain single-pane glass scores about 86, meaning 86% of the solar energy that hits it ends up inside. Decent modern double-pane glass still lets through a quarter to a half, and most American homes are full of the old stuff. So the question writes itself. If the glass is the leak, Why are we fighting the heat after it gets in? Your great-grandparents never did. The proof is sitting in any photograph of an American street taken before 1950, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Pull up one of those photos. Look closely at the windows in the frame. Striped canvas awnings on the hardware store, on the bank, on row after row of ordinary houses. Hospitals ran them across whole wings to keep the wards bearable. And the White House wore green striped canvas over its windows every single summer for decades. That canvas wasn't decoration. That was the national cooling system installed one window at a time. An awning intercepts the sunbeam outside before it ever reaches the glass, while it's still shortwave and still stoppable by a piece of cloth. The fabric warms up, sure, but it warms up outdoors, and the breeze carries that heat away, instead of your ceiling fan stirring it around your bedroom. It's the same fabric as your curtain hung on the opposite side of the glass, and it gets the opposite result. Second quiz. 10 seconds on the clock. Which window pours more heat into your house on a summer day? The big south-facing window at noon? Or the smaller west window at 5 viewed in the afternoon? Most people pick the big south one. The west window wins, and the reason is the same geometry trick the old-timers built into every awning. The one I promised you. The summer sun rides high, and at midday it strikes a south window at such a steep slant that most of the beam glances off the glass. The low evening sun hits a west window square. In late June, at the latitude of Kansas City or Philadelphia, the midday sun stands over 70 degrees above the horizon. The winter sun crawls, barely clearing 27 degrees at noon. A fixed awning sized to the window casts its shadow over the whole pane in June, and then, in January, the low sun slides in clean underneath it and pours free heat across your floor, exactly when you want it. No motor, no thermostat, no monthly bill. A strip of canvas that reads the calendar using nothing but the tilt of the earth. Engineers today call this passive solar design and charge consulting fees for it. A shopkeeper in 1910 got it bundled free with his store sign. So, what actually killed the awning? In 1947, the first mass-market window air conditioners hit department stores. And post-war electricity was so cheap, the question of where the heat came from stopped mattering. Canvas needed restitching every decade or so. Compressors just needed a plug. Developers stopped including awnings. Magazines called them old-fashioned. And by the 80s, an industry that had shaded the entire country had quietly collapsed. We swapped fabric for compressors and started renting our shade from the power company by the kilowatt hour. Nobody ever banned the awning in this country. We simply traded it for a machine that does the same job worse at the same hour every afternoon forever on a payment plan. And the real cost of that trade is one you can feel with your own hand. This afternoon, walk to your west window around 5 rown and lay your palm flat on the inside sill. That heat soaking into your hand is the down payment on your cooling bill, arriving through the one surface of your house nobody ever thinks to fix. Now, the payoff, the actual $40 fix, and the sizing rule that makes or breaks it. Option 1 is the simple buy, a fixed fabric window awning kit. Frame and canvas included, runs $40 to $90 per window online and at home centers, and it installs in an afternoon with 4 lag screws driven into the wall framing above the window. 2 people, 1 ladder, 1 cordless drill, done before dinner. Skip the cheap vinyl. Pick a light color. Tight weave acrylic fabric. Light tops reflect the beam instead of absorbing it. Option 2 is the build. A sheet of corrugated polycarbonate roof panel, 2 steel angle brackets, and a handful of screws comes in right around $40 and shades 1 big window. Either way, the rule that matters is projection, how far the awning sticks out. For a south-facing window, the projection needs to be about half the window's height. An awning that sticks out 2ft fully shades a 4ft tall pane from the high summer sun and still lets the low winter sun slide in underneath. West windows are the hard case. The evening sun comes in almost level, so an overhead awning alone gets beaten under the brim. There you want the awning plus a drop, a slotted or mesh front panel hanging down from the outer edge, or a simple exterior solar screen over the glass itself. One more detail the old installers knew. Leave a vent gap along the top of the awning or choose an open-sided frame so the hot air that builds under the fabric spills out instead of pooling against your wall. Now for the honest fine print, because this fix has real limits. An awning does nothing at night when your attic is dumping the day's heat back into your rooms. In hurricane country, buy a wind-rated frame or retractable model and crank it in before storms. Renters can get most of the effect with a tension-fit exterior solar screen. No drilling at all. And in some neighborhoods, the Homeowners Association will fight you over a strip of canvas while waving through a 3-ton condenser, humming on a concrete slab. So get the approval in writing first. Stack it against the alternative, though. The Department of Energy puts awnings at up to 65% less solar gain on south windows and 77% on west ones per window for $40 with no moving parts and nothing to plug in. Your air conditioner gets smaller bills and longer naps, and the fix outlives the machine. So check your worst window this afternoon, the west one with the hot sill, because that single pane is where your house is losing the fight. Shade it outside the glass, and you've cut off the sun before it ever steps indoors. And if you want the other half of this trick, the mesh version that renters can hang in 10 minutes, watch our video on the $15 screen that cools better than any blind ever made. It's the same physics, the same wrong side of the glass, finally made right. If this story changed the way you look at the windows in your home and the heat in your rooms, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the practical history and simple solutions that they have tried to bury. Let's build a cooler future together. Our next treasure of forgotten wisdom will be opened soon.